Good morning, traders. It's Trader Rob. Today is Wednesday, September 4th. Day 3 of the challenge. Yesterday we took a beautiful trade on the NQ zero drawdown. If you want to take a look at that video posted from yesterday, I went really in depth into how I formulated the entry, what I'm looking at to take my setups, and what I'm looking at in the volume profile with a combination of the levels. So if we jump into the charts here, first of all, excuse me for all of these lines on the chart. I really never actually trade like this, but I'm kind of confined to a specific chart right now, and I also provide the levels to my Discord members each and every morning, and there's a kind of a combination of both on the charts. Hopefully by tomorrow I've got a whole bunch of I got some monitors that are going to be installed here today to make my life a little bit easier. So I could also trade my live account while I'm doing the challenge as well. All right, so let's jump into the NQ. Now we do have a ton of high impact news this morning. We've got ADP employment change that's going to hit here in about a minute, so we'll see some crazy price action here shortly. We've got an initial U.S. jobless claims at 7:30, PMI at 8:45, ISM at 9, and then oil inventory report at 11. Oil inventory report today is not going to affect oil section 2 because that report comes out at 11 because of Labor Day. That report gets delayed a little bit for today, so that'll be outside of our session 2 trading range. So actually, you know what? I'm going to jump into the ES. Yesterday, if you guys remember, I had an entry that I really liked at the 64.67 number, and we tapped into that late last night. I think it was around maybe 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we tapped in. We did come in. We would have hit our TP1 for sure. I had a secondary TP line at the 64.60 that also would have hit. And we were still not able to get to the 64.55. But I mean, late last night when I was watching the trade, I was giving some commentary on Discord as far as what I was looking at, and things really played out almost exactly how I mentioned they would. And stop loss would be up here at the 64.67. Had another level right up here where I said it would be good for a second entry. I had to delete that for my levels. But I did have a line that was right here, if you remember from yesterday's video, which would have actually been a great area to take a secondary position on there for a really nice trade. But again, outside of my trading hours, and it was just a little bit late for me to get on the chart. And as far as the challenge is concerned, I want to record all the trades, so I wasn't going to be recording at 9 o'clock at night. So that's what we got there. So let me, you know what, let's start off with the ES. Take this to the 60-minute. All right, so we got volume obviously still sitting here. Big chunk right there. We've got a big chunk sitting pretty much right where we're at currently. I guess you can go down to right there. Okay. So am I interested? Let's see if anything else. No. Let's see if we go down. All right, so let's jump into the 15-minute. Not much of a reaction on the... Not much of a reaction here on with the ADP numbers. So let's clean this up here a little bit. We don't need these TPs anymore. Okay, that was my previous stop loss. All right, what do we got? What do we see in here? So on the 15-minute, the 64.68 looks interesting, right? Sitting below this high volume node right there. The 64.29 actually looks pretty interesting with this high volume node sticking out. So this would be something that I would want to take a look at, even though it's in the smaller volume pocket, so that might get kind of disqualified here. I'm not sure why this is red, but that should be blue. That was probably a previous stop loss idea. 6409. Okay, this looks really interesting. This doesn't look interesting, and then volume starts to kind of drop off there. All right, so we'll take a look at the 6409 number, and we'll look at the 6478 number. So let's drop into the 5 minute, see what we see there. All right, 6478. Yeah, I like that. Pretty much sitting right below there. I like that a lot. We've got a TP1 area, I would say would be right there, the bottom of that ledge. Let's make that dotted. And then another kind of peak right here. Solid. Let's do this. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm thinking about here. Stop loss could really just kind of go right below there, right behind that guy. Red. All right. Yeah, I kind of like that number. Let's see if what's 6478. Yeah. So I would want to drop this probably to 7750. You know, let's just 7775. All right. Really like this setup here a lot. 6477. Easy, really easy TPs, but this is this might be too close. I think maybe I can make a case for widening this up just like that. All right, that makes it a little bit nicer. I think we could get this one out of the way. And then what was the other number that we were talking about? 6409. Well, I kind of like, now that I'm looking at it on the 5 minute, I would rather be positioned up here. This 6429 number looks good, but it's smaller volume. It's a smaller volume pocket here, but still... Let's see, what do we have? 64. Let's see what that looks like. Nope, I don't like that at all. Don't like that one at all. This is the one that I kind of like a little better here. Let's see. Maybe somewhere right around here-ish. I mean, you can almost make a case for right at the top of this ledge. Might even be your best entry. And then it kind of makes, let's see. And then for as far as a TP is concerned, I guess I could grab this guy right here. That would be a very easy one. Let's mark that in green. That was good. Okay, we're going to see some, obviously some rejection here. Might have to refine this entry just a little bit based on what I see volume really starting to stack up once we get closer to there. And then as far as this could be a definite good stop loss area. Let me make this dotted. Okay, and then we've got our TP1. TP2 looks like you could just go right underneath here for a pretty easy one. I say easy, but nothing is easy. All right, so looking at the 64.17.18 area, TP1 64.22, TP2 64.26, and a stop loss in the region of 64.10. Might be able to even tighten this stop loss up a little bit as well. All right, so those are the two setups that I like here on the ES this morning. If I take a look at the NQ, high volume obviously sitting right here. And we still have this level from yesterday. So the 23,225, TP1 23,242, and TP2 23,256. I'll be interested in that. Market is going to be coming down. We'll find some resistance right here at the 225. I've got my stop loss in an area where I've got some good protection. Easy for TP1. TP2 might be a little bit of a struggle, to be honest with you, but we'll see. All right, so that's to the downside, and then to the upside, we've got a few setups here. Not sure what my thought process was here on this 23. Let's take a look. Well, volume obviously had changed because of this big move yesterday. So I'm not super excited about this one anymore. Not super excited about this 23,548. Oh, we're on the 60 minutes, sorry. Let's go down to the 15 minute. That's where I need to be at. 15 minute kind of looks the same. At this point, I'd almost like an entry down here. Yeah, I don't like this setup at all anymore, based on volume profile. All right, this setup I like a lot. Okay, so what am I looking at here? We've got an area, the 23,598, sitting right at the top of this high volume node. Stop loss protected very well with this peak. Very easy time to get down to TP1 and TP2. I like this setup a lot. So 23,590, 23,587 as TPs, and entry 23,598. All right, cool. So then looks like we've got kind of have a plan formulated here to the upside and to the downside on the NQ and on the ES. As far as yesterday, took two nice 15-minute Rob reversals for wins. Remember that strategy is 35 points as your profit target, so we got 70 points there. But I also took a loss in oil and a loss in gold. I should say gold over here, and oil. So that strategy pretty much came out, I would say, break even. So it's been break even for 2 days, pretty much being held up with the 15-minute Rob reversal because oil and gold have lost for 2 days straight. So we'll see what it does here today. And then on the discretionary account, which is my lives trade, my levels trades, that is up $187 with two winners. 2 winners, no losers. So let's see here what price action has to do today, and we'll enjoy the trades. All right, a quick little update here. A lot of volume stacking up at this ledge right here at this 64.79 to 80 area. So I've got my entry placed here at, not my entry, but this is where I'm looking pretty intensely to take a trade at the 64.78 to 79, depending if I get a decent confirmation candle. TP1 I adjusted a little bit just to sit on top of this ledge right here. Waterfall effect, pretty easy TP1. And then the TP2 is sitting again at this secondary ledge that we've got here in volume. So I'll be monitoring that. As far as the NQ made a nice little push here in the morning, took out a bunch of volume that was sitting right here. Obviously rejected down from there, but still quite a ways to go to our 23,598 thought process. and to the downside, we still got a pretty good ways to go. So I'll keep monitoring that, give you guys any updates, any changes that I see in volume currently. And as far as the rule-based strategies, no trade yet in gold. Oil starts at 9 a.m. and nothing on the 15-minute Rob reversal. All right, let's see what happens here. All right, there you go. Nice little scalp there. I think we took out just maybe a little bit over 3 points on that one. Again, pretty simple trade as far as how volume was stacking up. Maybe 3 ticks of drawdown on that trade. So that side was great. As far as profit targets, now kind of reevaluating it, maybe my TP1 should have been at 64.75. Could have probably brung this TP2 down to 64.72. Let me just see what. Let me just see. Give me 1 sec. Let's see what is going on here. Yeah, 72 would be a great area that I would see it wanting to rebalance. 72 area. But again, it's base hits. It's scalping, around volume. Sometimes the moves are bigger. Sometimes they're smaller. It's just seeing the market. I think that's the most important. That's the most important thing in trading is if you can see the market well, things get a lot easier, and volume just doesn't lie. Look for the ledges. Look for the, I use the analogy a lot of the waterfall, and if you start thinking about how water would come down, or I know this sounds pretty stupid, but going up against a volume profile, you could kind of see where you're going to see, like a dam being formed, and where you might get ripples in price action, and then where it just might want to flow down really, really quickly. And that's pretty much the basis of the strategy. So we did have, we did have a winner in oil, but I think all of my, let's see, let's enable this guy. Yeah. So, when I went to go flatten my position, it closed out all my strategies. So let me just make sure that these are all. Because what I also figured out was, which I'm not the happiest, but okay, so on oil session 2, we did have a nice winner. I think it was about 17 ticks of profit there. No trade in gold. We did get the inside bar, but it was the last bar of the session, which I don't trade, which was unfortunate because that would have been a really nice winner. And then no trade currently on the 15-minute Rob reversal. So we'll keep looking to see what we can get here. If we take a look back at price action, what else? I don't think there's anything above me that I was super excited about on the ES. If we can revisit down to the 64.51s, I'm interested. And on the NQ, the 23.598 would be another trade that I would look at here. All right. So we'll see what price action does, and I'll give you guys an update. All right. So I think I'm going to call it a day. Got to get out and do some work. So took a real nice trade here on the ES. As you guys saw it on the video, and I that's pretty much what I do every single day. I'm really trying to look for what I would consider to be a super A plus setup. I'm not looking for 10 setups. I'm looking for one or two that I can identify that just make sense and that they're super high probability. Smaller trade obviously here today on the ES, but I can't control the size of the move. The market controls that. And as you can see, where my TP2 was, where I closed out of that trade, was pretty much the bottom part of where that move that I thought was going to happen. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in these trades. The only other thing that I would be interested right now is on this NQ setup that I had short at the 23,598. Obviously, if it gets up there today, I won't be able to trade it because I'm not going to be in front of the charts. So if we take a look, again, oil had a nice winner. No trade in gold this morning, and currently no setup on the 15-minute Rob reversal. That runs till about 1:15, not about. It runs to 1:15 p.m. So if that doesn't take a trade, I'll update you that with that this morning. And listen, if you're interested in getting funded, they've got a lot of new options, a lot of instant funding, cheaper valuations, just a lot of different options out there. You can always use the code TraderRob. That'll get you the best deal with Funding Ticks, Take Profit Trader, Tradeify, and Apex. So that would be one way to support the channel. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the challenge. I know I am. Look forward to finding another A+ setup tomorrow. Take care, everybody.